And hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the R&R&R show. I'm Ruel Gavula, joined as always by Chris George. Rahdo's going to be joining us in a few minutes here via the magic of video. And we've got not one, but two special guests today, don't we, Chris?
We do. Two special guests who from Legendary Tactics, who we will let introduce themselves right now.
Awesome. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having us on the channel. I'm Flash, and this is NATO.
Hello there.
NATO. Hello. Welcome.
It is
and
lovely
folks,
to meet you both.
Lovely to meet you both as well. Friends in chat, let us know, as always, if the audio and video is good. The video looks good on my end. The audio sounds good, but as you all know, the wonders of the internet always messes things up. So let us know if everything is coming out fine on your end, friends. Welcome, everybody. Goblin and all the friends who are hanging out with us in chat. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. Chris and I just got back from Vegas. And
Did.
You know, I've got to say it, boy, are my arms tired. That's about the level of humor you're going to get on the show today, folks. That's how it goes. We were at the World Series.
Now you scared him away.
I know, Chris is like, that's it. I've had enough. We had a wonderful week at the World Series of Board Gaming. Chris, folks, if you haven't seen the VODs, Chris, George, his buddy Keith, and the entire staff there did such an outstanding job of live streaming all the tables and all the action there. Chris, you want to share a few thoughts about how you thought the WSBG went this year?
Yeah, it went really well. It went better than last year, and next year is going to be even better. So I'm excited. I'm excited that it went well. I'm excited that nothing crashed, which is the most important thing in live streaming, as we have found out time and time again on the R&R&R show. But you know what I'm more interested in talking about, Ruel? I'm more interested in talking about Legendary Tactics and what the heck y'all do over there. And so tell us a little bit about Legendary Tactics, your channel and everything that you do. How long have you been doing it? I'd love to know everything there is about you all. I said backstage for live. Yeah, I said that I wanted all your deepest, darkest secrets, and I intend to make that public. It's a public statement.
There's only 3 secrets to be had, but hopefully you find them.
Nice.
Okay.
So, and I'm just curious. Did you take any of the $100,000 home from Vegas?
Yeah.
I didn't. I can't.
No.
I can't participate in the competition, unfortunately. But
So
you know who did? A Canadian did.
Yes.
Angela Tao from Vancouver, Canada, was our grand champion.
Yeah.
She took it all home. She won Castles of Burgundy. She won Gaia Project in the semifinals, and then she won the grand final of Splendor for $25,000. She won it in a tie. She won it in a tie break. So it was 15 points.
Awesome.
They got to 15 points at the same time. But she had 8 cards, and Andrew Law, who was the Nova champion, had 9 cards.
Oh my god!
It was so close.
That's
such a close game.
I love that.
Yeah.
She's
Friends, speaking of Angela,
star.
she's going to be on my channel this Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Be sure to tune in. I'm going to be interviewing Angela about her journey to become a world champion. And also, I'm challenging Angela to a game of Splendor on BGA. So we're going to see if the champ has what it takes to crush me on my channel. So be sure to tune into that. But back to the Legendary Tactics. Friends, talk to us.
Thank you.
Share all your deepest, darkest secrets. It's just us and the interwebs. No one else is here.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, our story actually begins in kindergarten when I met the fellow on screen here beside me. We were kicking around the schoolyard together, and around grade 5 or 6, we started designing board games. We used to play a ton of them back then. And today's topic is one of them is Catan. And so a game we used to play back then that reminded me of Catan is Survive. And so that's one of the games that sort of started our early journey. Axis and Allies we played. Nate was heavily into Avalon Hill and a lot of the really heavy games, the hex and token games. And so we just did that casually and introduced to diplomacy. I think it was grade 7 or 8, maybe high school. And we had a teacher who had a bunch of history games on the shelf. So that was our early history. Then we met Cax, the 3rd creator on our channel. That was in high school. We started a band, and we realized that maybe the music scene wasn't taking us anywhere. So we had families, and then COVID hit, and we said, you know what, we're playing a ton of games together. Let's let's just post some materials and see if anybody likes it. And our primary focus is strategy. We like that. That's sort of our bread and butter. You have to really get to know a game well in order to be able to make the strategy guide, which just gives us a reason to play games. And I think that's our modus operandi, is just we just want to play a ton of games, and this channel is a good reason to do it. And a lot of channels tend to focus on a specific niche. Well, not so much us. We'll do anything and everything that interests us, and some of it hits and some of it doesn't, and that's okay. We have fun doing all of it. So Nato, do you want to take the story from there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to give Flash the credit of the idea, because Cax and I were not necessarily enthused about the idea initially, but eventually, we caught on, and we started finding our own fun with the channel as well. But the opportunity to play games, the way I always talk about it is, it's like taking your hobby but playing it at like a high level, because you're interacting with publishers and designers. I mean, for me one of my favorite games of all time is Twilight Struggle, and for me to meet Jason Matthews and interview him a couple of times, it's just like, it's so cool, and being in this space, it's so there are celebrities, but it's a different kind of celebrity, right? And so it's not you don't have to deal with massive egos and that sort of thing as much or whatever. And so it's just fun to meet people and to see how far we can take this thing. I think that's a big part of it for me. I just want to see how far we can go and how big our channel can get, and yeah, it's just fun.
That's great.
It's funny because we started as a friendship, and the first thing we said when we made the channel was, if ever there's a choice between friendship and the channel, we're going to ditch the channel. Sorry, the friendship always comes first, and I think that's important, that we're going to just continue to build our friendship that way, and then extend to the community. And that's what's been really exciting, is meeting all kinds of people. The first video that I did, where somebody reached out from the community, it was from the diplomacy community. And there was a fellow who did the diplomacy zine, and he just said, hey, like, this is cool. Do you want to come play a game with us? And, so it's neat when you meet other people who are as passionate about games as we are. Mm-hmm. So that's been pretty fun.
Yeah. Backing up just a little bit, I wanted to ask, what type of music did your band play? What was it like? And where did you play? Were you headlining anywhere, or were you like playing small clubs? What was that like?
We had some gigs and we did some Battle of the Bands and stuff like that, but it never went very far. I would say it was kind of a bit, it was in the 90s, so it was definitely, we played a lot of kind of songs, but I wouldn't say we were a heavy band. It was kind of more light, I don't know, pop. What would you say, Flash?
A little bit of folk mixed into, and like influenced by like David Byrne, the Talking Heads, and
nice.
The Pixies, and it was, we just did whatever we wanted to do. We had even a song that had a bit of a reggae feel to it, which at the time I don't even know why we played that, but it was
fun. It was the 90s. It was the 90s.
It was the 90s. Yeah. It was just fun. Awesome. And I think just going back to the friendship side of it, it's neat because we have a reason now to chat like every day. We've got right. We have a thread that is many thousands of messages long now. We started a couple of years ago, and it's just we have an opportunity to see each other and an excuse to see each other more often. So it's kind of cool that way.
Well, and our channel's evolved recently because we started in our primary philosophy was we wanted to emphasize the games and not the people. And we wanted to be more of a teaching channel, and there tends to be either entertainers or teachers, and we decided to go the teacher route. Two of us come from that background. But then we've been meeting some other creators, and we just decided, back in March, we're going to go live. We're going to put our faces on screen. So for the first time in, 3 years, we built a studio, and now we're actually, Nato is in the headquarters for studio. This is nobody knows about this yet. We haven't released any videos yet, but pretty soon we're going to be getting into more green screening technique. Tomorrow's the first day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be sort of reframing and doing a studio near the KW area. I'm on the other side of Toronto, and so it'll just be a chance to create different content, have different creators in to play games with us, and
wow,
should be pretty cool.
Exciting.
And,
that's
I mean, I love board games on YouTube. I watch a ton of content. Rahdo being one of the big ones, obviously, and love to hear what he has to say. Even when he was just kind of, I think he was filming everything with his phone or whatever,
Yeah,
the shaky cam.
Yeah, 100%.
Now he's all professional. But I think we also saw an opportunity to kind of innovate within the space, because I think the Dice Tower kind of set this standard of having people just sitting in front of a wall of board games and giving their thoughts or playing a game or whatever. And we said, well, yeah, that's great, and we enjoy that, but can we do something different? So we're always trying to like do different, take the space and play with it. And it started even with our unboxing videos, which we film, and then we reverse the footage and we do reboxings, where all the pieces magically go back into the box, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just our way of kind of like, we got to innovate here. We got to do something new and different and interesting. And so that was a big part of that creative kind of drive as well. Has been a big part of it for me.
That's really cool to hear. What are some of the things that, as you look forward here, like a year from now, what do you think, or what do you want to see more channels, board game channels specifically, including yours, do as far as content, whether it's, teaches or unboxings, like you said, you're doing it, backwards. What are some of the things that you'd like to see coming up in the near future?
All right. So something I love to do is the writing, and I think each of us has our own niche. And for me, I mean, NATO's the same here. We have about 1,000 ideas, and we only have so much time to create. But for me, it's the narrative side. I love board games with a story. And NATO, you actually pushed the envelope on this one. You took an obscure game. What was it? Was it B-17?
No, it was Skies Above the Reich by GMT Games.
Skies Above the Reich. Right. And it's a video that almost nobody's seen, but you put your heart and soul into that video. You created a story about the main character. I won't spoil what happens to that character, but you told it like cinematically. And for me, I'd like to, I want to do almost like a choose your own adventure where you, I'm thinking, so the game diplomacy is something that we featured on our channel quite a bit, and we do tons and tons and tons on strategy. And I've talked to world champions, and it's been so incredible. And it's almost 100% tactical or strategic. And diplomacy, so much of that game is based on the narrative and based on the debating, the negotiations, the person to person. So I would love to do a video where you have a choice and base it on a real game. And at the end, you click on one thumbnail and it takes you here or it takes you there. Or same thing with Avatar, The Last Airbender, the new Legends RPG. I'd love to do something with that where we create a plot and have our viewers interact with it. So that's probably something we're going to work on down the road, but we're committing to about probably 50 to 100 videos just for one video, right? You do your one video and then your series of chains that lead off. So there's a ton of work involved and a bit of innovation. I haven't seen too many channels doing that yet. So that's something we'd like to try. But NATO, you're always innovating in the space too. So what else are you trying to? Your documentaries are insane. You got to mention those.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been doing documentary style stuff as well. So I've been working through a series that chronicles the history of the Avalon Hill Game Company. I just did one on Parker Brothers. And there's, again, I guess I'm not sure if your question was specifically what would we like to do that's innovative or what we'd like to see in the space.
I think it's both, right? Like, if you want to see it in the space, you probably also want to do it. So
you have to do it, yeah. Well, it's funny because I'll serve up ideas to Flash that I definitely don't want to do, but I'm happy to serve up the idea.
Somebody should do that.
Yeah, somebody should do that. Yeah, that'd be great if somebody did it.
Team of friends, yeah. He's like, what do you do?
I guess it's just that I really am hoping that as time goes on. That people, I think there's way more innovation like there's so many things that can be done that just aren't being done. Whether it's, again, just that stereotypical talking in front of a wall of board games about a game that you just played. It's great. It's interesting, but I just think there's so much more that can be done. And so I hope that there are other creators that also decide to say, hey, you know what? We can do better. We can do something new. We can do something that feels fresh, you know. Like board game documentaries, like who does that? No one. Just me.
Yeah.
And that's that was the last. Is that the most recent video that you put up on your channel? Because that's the one I saw most recently, was the Parker Brothers.
The Parker Brothers.
Yeah,
I see it highlighted when at least when I go over there.
Yeah, and I love that. It's one of those things where I always thought like, oh, I'd love to see more of that. Just talking about the history and documentaries about companies or board games themselves. I don't know if you listened to Scott Rogers. He has done stuff for Ludology where he'll do like a board game. I think it's called Biography of Board Game or something, where he'll take one game and just sort of look at the history and do like a 3 to 5 minute segment on a podcast, which I thought was great. And I always appreciate that. It's just, it expands, the knowledge of board games and what we have to, consume as content consumers. I love seeing that. And I'm glad that you did it, because it's something I've always wanted to do, but I just don't have the time to do. I mean, I know it takes a lot of time to research, right? Not only to film, but just to do the research, right, Nato?
Yeah, it does.
Well, but NATO's actually certifiable. He is completely insane when he invests himself in an edit. Like, honestly, so I'm a film teacher originally, and when I look at his edits, there's just 1,000 tracks and little sounds and this and all these details that probably no one notices or cares about. And he puts the time in on those, because he's like, he did a series on Twilight Struggle where he did it card. I'm like, Nate, you got to do, maybe 10 cards at a time. And he's like, no, I'm doing every card, one video per card. He did like over 100 videos.
Oh my gosh.
There's 110
per video, 110 videos.
Each card.
So we laugh a little that he's like, he could string together probably 12 hours of strategy guide just in Twilight Struggle alone.
Yes.
You have to be a little crazy in this space if you want to push the envelope a bit.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Question from one of our viewers here: how did you get your nicknames for each other? And that's from Sailnet. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, well, mine's pretty straightforward, because my name's Nathan. So NATO. Actually, it was Cax's mom that was, for some reason, they were playing this video game. This was years ago. And they were picking funny names for each other, and she chose NATO Potato, which you can see on the screen there, and then the potato part fell away and just became NATO. That's mine's easy.
Awesome. I'll speak on Cax's behalf. So his name's Mark, and so of course we called him Marcus, and then Marcacus, and then Cacus, and then Cax. So it was
the evolution of these sorts of nicknames. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So curious where it'll go next. And my last name's Thompson. So in high school I used to play a lot of soccer, and I still play a lot of soccer, but I don't run as quickly now as I used to run. So Flash Thompson sort of came from a combination of being someone who was a fast runner and the Spider-Man character.
Yeah, so. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for the question, Sailnet. Appreciate that. So moving right along. So here we are. Folks, if you haven't already, please check out Legendary Tactics on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop a link in chat right now. You can do this by doing Command Now Play, and that's what we're doing right now. We are talking to our guest, Legendary Tactics. There's the YouTube link there, and when we film the actual show here, folks, we'll be including links to all that in the description of the YouTube as well. Chris, any questions for our friends here?
Well, all I'm going to say is that if everybody in chat doesn't go right now and click that subscribe button, I'm going to personally come to your houses and show you every single one of those 110 card videos for Twilight Struggle, and we'll have a great time, because I bet they're incredible. Go right now, and that's for anybody watching on YouTube as well. You can leave. No, most people don't tell you to leave the video. Leave the video. You can come back, but go check out those videos, because it's better than the sorts of rambling that we're going to do over here. But we do have a this or that from Goblin, so we'll get to that in a second. Yes, thank you, Zen, for one.
Thank you,
Goblin says, I look forward to your visit, Chris. Yeah, well, you know what, Goblin? Until you subscribe, I'm not coming now. It can work both ways. I can work both ways. So but when you do, then I'll book a trip. I don't know where you're at, but probably far. We're pretty close to each other, which is nice, though. Fellow Canadians.
Yes, absolutely.
Which we're all in that sort of the Ontario population belt.
Yes.
There's more of us coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's great. And so how many videos would you say on average do you put out How long has the channel been operational? And then how many
Since
videos put out a week?
March of 2020.
Nice.
It was literally a COVID. There was a lot
Yeah.
of channels that started up in March
Yeah.
of 2020. We were one of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good way to connect.
Yes.
So
I
Cool.
think we've got, what, 1,200 videos, I think?
yeah, I think
Wow,
about that. So
1,200. Nice.
well, and again, NATO's the crazy one. I committed to 1 video per week, and NATO's like, oh, I can fill in the other 5 or 6. So, I think it helps having a studio because we like to binge on content. So we'll go and we can create a lot all together, and we pre-write all of our scripts and come up with our ideas in advance, and then we can just film everything in one go. But yeah, generally, like, Nate will have about 7 or 8 edits on the go at once. I tend to be a one at a time kind of guy. So and he'll have his long edit and then his short edits, but yeah, I like just sort of, this is my video this week. So this week I'm working on I had a friend over working on a top 10 list together, and I don't know what it is. It's so cliche to do a top 10 board games list, but it's so much fun because you always find out about, like, he had 10 games that I'd never played any of these games with him. So there's 10 new games for me to check out.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
on screen right
100%.
now, folks, it's that Parker Brothers video that we are just talking about over there on Legendary Tactics. So we're just have that on screen so y'all can check out what is going on at Legendary Tactics. Speaking of Legendary Tactics, so you know, you were just talking about the top 10 list, Flash. Are there any? Oh, we're going to be doing a list too, folks. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about 2 different things here real soon here. But as far as the top 10 goes, did you find anything, you know, like one of the tougher ones that you had to do? Was there any list that sort of stumped either of you or any of you on the channel? Like, so I know we do a bunch of lists here too, Chris, and there's sometimes where I'm like, I don't know what game to put on this list.
Oh yeah, I'm glad it's a collective top whatever because I have like 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I probably had a lot more. And then no, I lie.
Yeah.
I just lie. I
Yeah,
lie
it's
to
easy
you
for
all.
me. Mine was these guys from Rahdo Runs Through It asked us to replace Catan and UNO. That was really hard.
That was
Super hard.
one of the harder ones.
I found UNO to be a bit tough, honestly. I'm not as I had like a few that I was juggling between, but I found UNO pretty tough to replace.
Yeah. Like I was trying to,
how close do you get to, and how how far do you
that's my question too. Are we trying to keep it as far as, like, you know, the weight of the game, right? We want like a light card game, or do we want just something that's totally different? Like, let's just throw away UNO and start fresh with something that's, you know, like really good. I don't know. I didn't know how to approach. So I'm curious. I haven't seen anyone's picks yet, so I'm gonna see them as as we do the show here. So I'm really curious.
What's your sort of balance of, because you mentioned you both play like a lot of different games, and obviously like the war games and the GMT and all that sort of stuff. What's the balance of like what you would classify as like war games with all the chits and all the that sort of standard versus Euro games, or like do you have a delineation of what you tend to gravitate towards?
Yeah, I mean, I
might as well take that.
Yeah, well, I'm more the war gamer. I'm the rules guy in the group, so we play whatever rules I've learned. So it's up to me.
Fair.
I'm the decider.
No, but when Nate's not there, Cax and I just look at each other and like, well, what do we do now? Let's go play video games.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I need a team because that sounds amazing. That
sounds
great.
He's so good at it. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, I'll play any game, but I do prefer something with a little more meat on it. Something that is a little more thinky. I don't know. It's just something I've always gravitated towards. I like Euros as well. You know, I play Viticulture and Terra Mystica and the, you know, but I'm happy to play a lighter kind of game as well. But I do feel sometimes like Flash will bring out a game that he really likes and we'll play it and it'll be 15 minutes long. And I just feel like, that's a nice appetizer, but I need a bit more. So that's kind of, and it's kind of more the games I've always gravitated towards. The first game that I bought that wasn't Risk or something or Monopoly was an Avalon Hill game named Bismarck. which had pages and pages of rules and all that. But I was just intrigued by the ability to recreate history. That's what has always grabbed me about those games. It's partly the strategy, but also the ability to, sit in that chair and try and figure out a better way, or what would my what did they do and how would I change it? That kind of idea has always intrigued me, and most of the time those type of games come with some rules overhead. Unfortunately or fortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so we're fortunate. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm about to take that deep dive into wargaming, NATO, where I was recently invited to go to the San Diego Historical Games Convention next month.
Nice.
And I've played Twilight Struggle, really enjoyed it. But would I say that's my normal jam? No, it isn't. But they invited me. I was like, you know what? I want to experience something new. So I'm looking forward to. I actually have a couple of GMT titles on my shelf of opportunity. Fall of the Roman Empire, People Power. I've got all these games that I want to play, but I haven't taken that deep dive yet. And it's actually sort of what you just mentioned there, the rules overhead.
Yes.
And I talk about this with Chris all the time. We're big Reiner Knizia fans. So give me a rule book that's like 2 to 4 pages long. I'm in heaven right there.
Yeah.
But give me a rule book that's like, like a little booklet. I'm like, it's a little much. But what would you say to folks like me who are making that leap in or dive into wargaming? What, like, as far as, are there certain games that you would recommend, or just approaches to learning games that you could recommend, or maybe you have some videos on your channel that I can check out? I don't know.
Yeah, I did a video on how to learn the rules to a game. It wasn't specifically a war game, but it could apply to that. So I would say, yeah, like definitely start with something that is on the simpler side. So you could look at, say, the Undaunted series, for example.
Yes.
And what's good about that is a lot of the principle. It's like a Euro game or any other type of game where you can find commonalities across the different types of games. So if you learn one hex encounter, a lot of times that will carry over to the other ones, right? So but there's variations on the theme, but in a lot of ways they're similar, and so you can find common elements that allow you to learn it a lot faster. But I would, just start with something like Undaunted, or something like one of the kind of the beginner war games, and see how you like it. And then after that, I would just proceed based on theme. What history intrigues you, or what history have you never learned about that you are interested in learning about? So, for example, you mentioned People Power, which is a coin game, and the coin series has specialized in highlighting theaters of war and conflict and so forth that are totally off most people's radar. The first one is Andean Abyss, which is the Colombian Civil War. The fifth one was I'm just trying to think. There was one which is Gandhi and that era of in Indian history. And they've got People Power, which is the history of the Philippines and the Marcos family. So like it's all this stuff that for most people, they've never looked into the history to any degree. And so it's neat to experience it and then use that experience if you've had a positive experience with the game, and then go and learn more about the history. And that just makes the whole experience richer the next time you play it.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, thank you for that. And that's the reason why I got People Power, because personally it means something to me, being Filipino American, it speaks to my cultural heritage, but also I talked to the designer early on, and Kenneth T, and he really wanted to make a coin series game that was like the introductory to coin games.
Yes, so, it's a good place to start.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that one. So thank you for that, NATO. So we have
Ruel. I actually have to completely disagree with Nate.
Oh,
I think
okay,
he's completely wrong.
Yes.
And this one thing we do on the channel is we have very different approaches, but I'm you, Ruel. So I hate if it's more than 20 pages of rules, my brain just shuts off, and I like to dive in and start playing the game right away without all the rules overhead. So NATO actually did something. This was exactly what he tried to do. There's a game called Mr. President from GNT. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
So this is a game that you look at the board and you just think, this is insane. Like, I'll never learn this. And there's rule books and all these.
The board is 5 feet long, I think, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Pretty close.
Wow.
What?
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
It's
just already packed. I'd open it. I'd put it away. I'd say,
Yeah.
nope, don't put it on my table. No, can't play.
So no, wait a second, because this is that I'm with you on that. But NATO said, you know what? I'm going to make this work for you. So he decided to treat it like a role-playing game.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just until the internet reboots. It just might have been a dip in that sort of stuff. And then it's back. It seems to be back.
Everyone, everyone who's watching live, hit that old refresh button. I just hit refresh. We're back apparently.
There we go. Yeah, I can see us on the other screen.
Okay,
but
cool.
You'll have to. Somebody in the chat was saying also too that were you filming that GMT Mr. President thing, because they said that they really loved the GMT Mr. President series.
Yes,
and we're very excited to see you on this show because of that.
Yeah,
so it's kind of cool that you bring it up in terms of a way of learning it as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, again, I think there's as I said earlier, there's room for innovation, and I just thought, well, that's a game where I can take on the rule stuff, but I can just filter through, the situation and put it in a framework that it's going to be more palatable to people who don't enjoy the rules overhead. Another variation on this that we're going to try soon is actually I want to play that game that got me started in the hobby, which is Bismarck, but we're gonna run it like a refereed game, and it's just going to be I'm going to be providing telegrams and or whatever, sort of not Morse code stuff, but put it in a narrative space where it's like, hey, you've just gotten word that Bismarck's been sighted off Iceland, the coast of Iceland or something, but the fog is rolling in. What do you want to do, kind of thing, and turning that more into a narrative that way, so we can make it more palatable.
And I think that works so well in a Flash. I was just thinking a perfect example. So my all-time favorite game is Twilight Imperium. But that is such an outlier for me, because I usually like to play games hour and a half, maybe hour, up to 2 hours. But that game, it takes all day. But it was because it was just one of those things. I always wanted to try it, but my friend Jake, who taught me the game, did it in a way similar to that, NATO, where it was like, hey, Ruel, you are this faction here. These are your abilities. Now you want to, go out in the universe, build your army, blah, blah, blah. But, because he took that narrative approach, rather than just give me a laundry list, okay, this is what you can do on your turn. He gave that narrative. It was like, oh, I'm the University of Jolnar. I'm the space nerds, and stuff like that. It was a little more approachable, a little more accessible for me to approach the game, get into it. The next thing you know, I'm listening to like Twilight Imperium podcasts. I'm watching Shay's video on Twilight Imperium. It's a thing. So I think that is a really great point as far as how to get into the game the first time.
Yeah, sometimes you'll run into games where there's a long rule book, but the actual gameplay is actually pretty streamlined. They just have to, and again, if you just spend a bit of time with it, it actually flows very, very well. I mean, these games are generally meant to be played. Some of maybe the old SBI or Avalon Hill titles, maybe not so much, like Campaign for North Africa or whatever, but most games are there to be played, and there should be a flow to them that once you kind of figure out what it's trying to do, you can shortcut a lot of the rules learning, because once you see what the direction it's headed, a lot of times you're like, yeah, okay, I see how this is supposed to work now.
Yeah, and that's just, I think that's the common thing, and it's a great point as well. The common language of board gaming, right? So now that I've been in the hobby for a while, I know what to expect when someone tells me, oh, this is a worker placement game, or this is a tile laying game. You sort of build that common vocabulary, right?
Or even more specifically, they say, oh, this is Dominion mixed with Castles of Burgundy. You're like, oh, okay, I basically know how to play already. Or whatever.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we were
there is a short.
Star Wars Rebellion, we did the same. I love laying it out with friends and just saying, you have two options now. You can do this or you can do that. Go ahead. Or you've got these four, and then letting the rules sort of come out as you need them, as opposed to being front heavy. So I think tail end heavy rule teaching is one of the keys.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I think theme is so key, because you have to have an interest in the story that the game is going to tell. And if it's not a story you're interested in hearing, then you're going to be bogged down by rules and all that stuff. But if you have an interest in the theme or the aesthetics, the components or whatever that just adds to that experience, every game you're going to have a game. The first game or two you're not going to know how to play well. You're going to have to learn how to play well, and there may be some mistakes you make. Usually you play the first game and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this rule. That would have changed everything. But you have to be patient with the interface and give it time to sink in. And once it sinks in, then that's where it really begins to sing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go back to just sort of. Sorry, I was just going to say they're a shared experience, right? So when you come to the table and you're telling a collective story that changes depending on decisions people make, I think it's just great. But yeah, Chris, what were you going to say?
No, I just wanted to go back to a couple comments too as well. Scott O'Brien says Federation Commander is an interesting first war game type. It has a great introductory cadet game that starts with a quarter of the main game rules. I think most super complex games should follow that path. I don't know if either of you have played that. And then another question that we were going to ask, and I think the stream was dipping, was which we're kind of covering right now. But how do you recommend introducing war games to Eurogamers? Because Eurogamers tend to avoid luck dice like the plague, but are used a lot in war games to add uncertainty as part of the historical simulation. I mean, for that, I would just say, there's dice in the game. Get over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I don't know. I don't know if there's anything further that we can expand upon. But just wanted to touch upon those comments before they scrolled on by.
To me, those feel like very different spaces. But so on our channel, I tend Cax is our Eurogamer more. He straddles the divide between NATO and I. NATO prefers more like the simulation, historical, rules heavy game. I prefer more like the storytelling or games with interaction. So the one that I'm loving lately is Moonrakers. Have you played that one from IV Studios?
Oh, not yet, but I love IV stuff.
Yeah,
it's great. And what I love about it is just and it's the same thing as Cosmic Encounter, where you're just trying to convince people to help you win before they get you to help them win. Or other games like Kemet is one with the tech tree, and it's a little like, it reminds me of Twilight Imperium too, where you pick your path and you're building your sort of, it's in a way it's Euro-esque because you're sort of developing your own engine and infrastructure, but it has all those elements. So for me, it would come more in the form of a game that straddles the genres. Like Twilight Imperium really is every kind of game, and I think that's why it's so cool.
Actually, that's great that you mentioned Kemet, actually, because that is a game that I think would be a great bridge between those Eurogamers and the war gamers. So it's a war game, so it satisfies the war gamer, and there's great strategy and everything, but there's no luck in that you have your combat cards, and it's I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's such a great mechanic. You've got a certain number, I think it's 6 combat cards, and every time you play in a battle, you have to discard one card and play the other one. And so your options get more and more narrow as the more battles you fight. So you have to think, well, do I want to win this one guaranteed? Or do I want to lose this one so that I have a stronger card for later? And so it's not luck based in any way. It's all based in your decision making, or at least there may be a bit of luck with some extra, like with the divine intervention cards, but that's just a little bit of spice thrown in. But that might be a good game that would bridge that gap where it would kind of satisfy the more mathematical among us.
Have you played the new Kemet? I haven't played. I've only played the older edition. I haven't played the one with the 4 tech tracks, just with like the 3 tech tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I kickstarted that one, Blood and Sand.
Oh, nice.
And,
yeah.
And it's funny because I pulled them out. I did a comparison video and I looked at them, and part of me, Kemet, it's my favorite game of all time. And
cool.
The original one is the one I fell in love with. So I was hoping when the new one came out, because there was the rules updates in between, and I thought, this new Blood and Sand is just going to blow my mind. It's going to be amazing. But I found myself playing it going, I kind of like the old rules, and this new map feels too mobile. I prefer the map where it was a little harder to get to places, and the minis are bigger in Blood and Sand, so that's cooler. It came with the plastic trays, which organizes the game better, and there's more tech.
That's huge. That's huge for passing the tech around the table.
Yeah,
it is. But ultimately, I was, I don't feel like it was a massive upgrade to me. I tend to just lean on going to my old beat up copy of the game, and
cool.
I love it just as much. So, but it's cool.
Okay. You know what? We could chat all day. This is great. Thank you again for joining us, friends. We got things to do though. We've got two shows to record. We're going to be recording 2 shows, friends. Talking about the games that replace UNO, the games that replace CATAN, or CATAN, if you will. Chris,
we're not smashing them together. It's not just one big thing.
No, we're gonna separate them out. Then Richard's gonna edit them into 2 different things. We're gonna come back, Chris, next show and take care of this or that's and top 3s and all that stuff. Because we don't want to spend. I mean, I would love to hang out here all day, but I know everyone's got the stuff to do, and so we're gonna get ready. Let me get this. I'm gonna do a quick test because I did not test this before we went live. Again, this is the most professionally run stream on the internet, folks.
You betcha. That's why you tune in.
Exactly. So bear with me for just a second. I want to see if Richard's video is going to pop up, and then I'll come back to the scene.
Guys, welcome to the show. Sorry I'm a bit late to the party, but those are excellent choices.
Okay, did y'all see that? That was a little spoiler alert. Okay.
Yeah, we saw it. So and I could hear it too.
Whew. All right, I was afraid it wasn't going to work, but it did.
Nah, things work no problem over here.
Yeah,
well,
that's how we roll.
Don't look at the previous part of the stream. You imagine that?
Nothing ever.
That's probably on you. That's probably your specific you as the viewer that made that happen.
Exactly. So clean your act up, viewers. Chris, why don't we give away some passes of PAX Unplugged right now? This is based on the contest we did last week. And friends watching right now, you're going to have another chance to win 2 passes to PAX Unplugged this December in Philadelphia. Flash or NATO, any chance you'll be at PAX Unplugged this year?
I don't think so.
No worries.
Yeah, likely. We just started going to Gen Con again. It's been a little while since we've been to a convention, but I feel like going down the road, like having a channel is just a great reason to go to these things and just to have some fun. So I would love to be there, even though it may not happen this time around.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably going to be there unless I book something. Nice. So if you are all going there, and if you happen to win one of these PAX Unplugged things, and you see me wandering around, because I will be wandering and I will be in a daze and I won't know where I am. Help me cross the street. Help me cross the aisle. Just take my arm like the sweet little grandma that I am, and just cart me to somewhere safe. I would appreciate that.
Folks, we've got 2 passes to give away, but we also have passes from last week. So we're going to announce the winners right now. I'm going to turn over to Richard via the power of video, and Richard's going to let you know which one of you won the passes. Take it away, Richard.
All right, folks. We are about to give away some tickets to PAX Unplugged, brought to you by the Wheel of Names and the new Peacock film, Sick, apparently, which is the random ad it's throwing at me. Anyway, before I get to spinning, though, Chris, it was very entertaining to see you squeeze in fake versions of the secret word into all the games. Please don't do that again, because almost a third of entries got it wrong. They were taken in by your chicanery, and I did not want to kick everybody else because they did, in good faith, try to find the secret word. So in the future, stick to the script, pal. Although it was very entertaining and very impressive to watch. But anyway, folks, without further ado, you want to know who gets those tickets? Let's spin. Here we go. Here it comes. Oh! Robert Petty, congratulations. And I'm sorry, Camille, you were so close. But anyway, alrighty. Robert, I've got your email address. We'll be getting in touch to figure out how to, I think they're going to get them to you digitally and all of that. But we are set. Folks, keep watching. There's going to get a chance to win more tickets, and you don't want to miss out. But, yowza. Chris, stick to the script, man. No more tomfoolery. All right, let's get back to it.
Chris, no more tomfoolery.
Yes.
Richard says so. It's on you, my
okay,
friend.
so for NATO and Flash, last week the secret word was otter, OTTER, and so I kept on saying, isn't it? It'll be a little bit odder if something were to go down right now, and then I'd spell it every time. I'd say otter, ODDER, and then I'd say like this is where some walruses could go in there, and other sorts of sea creatures. I wish I could say something here, but I can't. And so yeah, I tried to squeeze it into every single game just to make sure people were really paying attention. And you know what?
Must be Canadian.
I'm gonna do it again. I don't care what Richard says. Whatever the word is, it's going in weird places. This is your warning because you're watching the pre-show. You get to know.
Yes.
No. Okay. Fine. I'll say it. What should our secret word be? Because we just picked it because somebody named Otter in the comments put down a fun comment.
Yeah. I just saw in the comments someone says more shenanigans. What about the word shenanigans, Chris? Can you work that into the video here?
I could, yeah. I mean, it'd be pretty easy to put in somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just,
I like chicanery too.
Ooh, chicanery.
Yeah, I could just say chicanery instead of shenanigans and make people throw people off.
Okay,
that'd be pretty good.
So again, folks, I do
should
want to
be
thank...
more. Staleness says more. Yeah, it should be the, and I'm required to not say the for the whole stream. Yeah, that's what it should be. You're right, and I'm gonna screw that up so badly.
Oh my gosh,
it should be something just very ordinary.
Yeah,
that I will say continuously.
Why don't we let's stick with shenanigans, just because I think it ties into the theme really well.
It is a great word,
right? It's a fantastic word, and I want to thank Feldfan Zen for one. Thank you for resubscribing, folks. If you subscribe, first of all, you can get a free subscription by using your Amazon Prime account, and second, if you subscribe to the channel, not only do you get discounts on Rahdo merch, you also get links to a secret playlist of videos that Richard has you can only get through subscribing. And finally, if you enter one of these contests, just ask us if you're a subscriber, just email us and we'll let you know exactly where Chris says the word shenanigans in the video. So one of the many perks that you get by subscribing.
You probably need to go in on that perk, let me tell you. if I know. Well, it's something it just makes me think of a phrase that my good friend Shannon often says to me, who's going to be coming up in most of these episodes. Classic Shannon Gann.
Shannon.
She knows what's up.
Shannon said it again?
Oh my goodness.
Shannon said it again. Yeah, Shannon said it again.
Goblin asks, what's the prize this week? Is it worldwide or just US? It is worldwide, Goblin, and everyone watching, you get a chance to win 2 free passes to PAX Unplugged. First week in December here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the US. You are responsible, of course, for your own travel accommodations, but you get a free pass, which is going to save you some money. And I'm always about saving money, so feel free to enter no matter where you are. And then we will. It's going to be a digital transfer for the tickets and whatnot. So, our winner this week was, I already forget who won. It wasn't Camille.
Robert Petty.
Robert Petty. Richard will be contacting you if he hasn't already. Okay. So what we're going to do, it's going to be a little different, folks. We are going to be doing 2 top 6 lists, where the gang from Legendary Tactics, this is like the ultimate mashup. It's like the Avengers. We're all hanging out here. Rahdo runs through Legendary Tactics. We're going to be talking about 2 different lists of games. The first one's going to be the games we believe should be used to replace UNO. And then the second list will be the games that we will use to replace CATAN or CATAN. I say CATAN. I've always, that's the way I was taught the word, but I know a lot of people say CATAN.
I say CATAN.
You say CATAN?
But I know it's CATAN. I see on my backstage screen though. Oh, what is it then?
You're both wrong.
Oh.
So I actually did a video on this. Hans, is it Hans Teuber?
Yes.
Yeah, so Teuber, if you listen to him saying it, so there's a lot. I say CATAN because I'm Canadian, so I've got that nasalization. A lot of more American people who don't want to sound Canadian say CATAN, but CATAN is how he says it. So it's in between CATAN.
CATAN's closer. CATAN's closer.
I think it is closer.
CATAN's closer than CATAN.
Yeah.
It's not a katana. It's a katana. Just like Shannon aga.
Shinanigans.
Before we begin, Ruel, I don't know if you can reframe on the fly, or we're gonna have to smush NATO, and I believe this is Cax.
Yes,
oh,
we
it's
have.
Cax. Hi, Cax. Welcome. Okay, let's reframe.
My backstage screen.
They will make it.
I don't know if you zoom out a bit. Maybe we get them.
Yeah, let me see what I can do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
see
pretty
what I
good.
can do.
That's pretty good.
Let me see.
It's very uncomfortable, but it works.
Too many
in the name of board
Catanigans.
games.
Yes.
That's a good one, Scott. Believe me, Sailnet, I'm seeing everything that you're writing down, and I love it. And they will be. They will be at some point.
Goblin's hilarious. Whoever this person is.
Catarn.
Catarn. Okay.
Good old Catarn.
I think this should work. Yeah, go ahead.
That's pretty good. I mean, I can see. I can
Chris,
see
both
the.
We're good. We can.
There now.
We can
Looking
slide
good.
over a little bit this way if it gets the. There we go. Let's move over this way. Get that.
As long as we can see the thermostat
out of the shot.
But that's how we know that you're comfortable, right? We can
Yeah.
is it the
we're
thermostat
dialing it
or
up.
is it? Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's gonna be that scene. So this is what I've got right now as we reframe. And then I'll go to...
Well, while we reframe, hi, Cax. Welcome
Cax.
to the show. Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. Sorry, I'm a little late in my presence here, but glad I could make it.
It's all good. Your two compatriots were saying nothing but honestly really horrible things that you probably are going to have to set the record straight about a lot. They're like, oh man, anything that goes wrong, it's Cax.
If you had said something different, I was going to go check the replay actually. So I'm glad you passed off.
This tracks then. This tracks with your.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
he's our scapegoat.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, let's see if I got this. Okay, it's going to look a lot more comfortable in the other scene. So this is the main scene. We'll do the the intro here.
We got it in the other scene where we're going to spend
scene,
most of the time anyway.
Fine with the other scene.
Yeah, there we go.
The other scene will be good. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, so why don't we do this? Let me shut all these things down. Folks watching, again, if we get a raid or rated or whatever, please let everyone know that we're recording this for YouTube, so we won't be actually interacting with the audience much during or at all during the recording, but stick around because afterwards we'll do a post show and we can answer questions and whatnot. So I'm going to take all the Twitch stuff down in the scenes. Let me make sure this is here. Okay, let's update this. Oh man!
I like your viewers, by the way. These people are all hilarious, unacceptable.
There you go. That's a good one.
Sorry, if you guys were laughing, I might have missed that, but that's funny.
That's great.
That's very good. That's the benefit of Twitch, right? Like you just get to hang out with a bunch of people,
Yep.
and it's great when chat is chatting because then we get funny people.
We do. All right.
And insightful people, and honestly have much more to add than I ever have in any aspect of my life.
Oh no!
Reminds me of that Mystery Science Theater 3000 where the people are, except we're the movie and they're the robots making fun of us.
Yeah, 100%.
That is what we do every Tuesday, folks, here at on Rahdo Runs Through. Legendary Tactics, how you feeling? We good to go? We all set?
Oh yeah,
We're good.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing the intro, and then we're going to go into the 6 games that replace UNO. Chris will kick things off, and then I will go to Flash, NATO, Cax, myself, and then Richard via video. He'll talk about all the ways that we're wrong or right with our picks, and we'll go from there. Okay, and again, thank you guys for joining us. Let me go to this scene. Okay, that's good. Let me make sure. Check. My mic is, being recorded. This scene here, video, audio is good. Cax and NATO, one more time for an audio check, please.
Check.
Perfect.
Hello.
Perfect.
He's louder than me.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's good. That's good. Videos are up. Okay. Chris, how you feeling? Are we good to go?
Let's do it, Ruel. I'm excited to see this list.
Me too. Okay, here we go. Excuse me. Hey everybody, welcome to Rahdo Runs Through. This is the R&R&R show, episode 73. I am Ruel Gaviola, joined as always by my co-host Chris George. Chris, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic because this isn't just the R&R&R show. It's the R&R&R&R show. Everybody's an R.
Yeah.
We've got the whole crew from Legendary Tactics
Yes.
over here, and we're thrilled. We see Cax and NATO squishing into the frame right there to make sure that we all can get this thing all nicely framed up. And then we've got Flash on his own, just he's in the same building, separate room. He's like, you know what, I don't want to be around you guys. We're like, we could do a 3-shot. It's like, no, I need my own space. It's thrilling to have you all on here as well, and I'm excited to do this list about the games that replace Uno.
Yes. So if you haven't already, folks, be sure to follow the Legendary Tactics channel. You can check the show notes below for those links. And before we get going to the list, folks, Legendary Tactics talks about Uno a bunch on their channel. And Flash, Cax, and NATO, why Uno of all the games that you could talk about? I mean, you talk about all kinds of games, but why Uno in particular?
Well, it's funny because we actually, our two most successful videos are Catan Strategy Guide and Uno is right up there. And that was never our intention. We just wanted to cover them, and we've got other videos that are way better, but for some reason people want to watch those ones. So
it's a popular thing, right? Like it's what a lot of people who aren't like super niched into the hobby as well will be searching for potentially, right?
But what's important with board games is that it's the games that people love to play. And I mean, worldwide, how many people play those two games? Tons and tons and tons. But the reason we're making this show is because they're not the best games out there. And we've got some better suggestions of how we can level up your gameplay if you're still relying on Uno and Catan.
Right. Oh, that's great. And why don't we take a quick look? And this is from your channel right here. This is the Uno video there. I mean, it's fantastic. I love this. So, friends, we're going to be doing the 6 games that replace Uno. So why don't we kick things off? Chris, you're going to lead things off this time with your choice. What game would you replace Uno with?
I am going to lead things off. And I had a few games that I was juggling between, and I should have opted for something different, but I had to give it to one of my favorite games of all time. Like, legitimately, this game is so fun. And I almost didn't include it because I just talk about it a lot on these R&R&R shows. But it is the game Dutch Blitz.
Yes.
Great pick. So good.
I love there's that.
That's not Dutch Blitz. That's
this
joke.
Talk about
what is that?
No, I don't. That must be a weird thing that's happening. That's weird. Yeah. No, I think that's the mascot for Dutch Blitz. I think it's on the back cover of a special edition. Maybe, I'm not sure. But Dutch Blitz does look a bit Dutch. Dutch Blitz is I don't think I even have a video on Dutch Blitz.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Really? No. I just talk about it a lot. It's in my top 10. It's in my top 10 games of all time.
Okay,
I think
we're gonna find it right here. Yeah.
Because I don't even really show it. That's my top 20 to 11. Anyway, I'm talking about Dutch Blitz here. Dutch Blitz is fantastic. All it is it's speed solitaire. And so the reason I feel it should replace Uno, if you're interested in speed games whatsoever, then that's something that you should for sure check out. If you're not interested in speed games, I think you can still have a great time with this game. My parents are very slow at this game and still love playing with me. It's speed solitaire. All it is you're trying to get rid of a small pile of 10 cards. You're putting it into the middle where you're counting up from 1 to 10 in a number of different piles. But if I put like the yellow 1 in the middle, well, then you can put your yellow 2 in the middle. And so you're going through your stack over and over and over again. And it gives you that feeling of matching the cards. It gives you the rush of, oh, I've got that card in my hand. I hope that they change it to the suit that I have. They did. Boom, I can play it now, right? The ladder climbing element of Uno is the one that I wanted to focus on in terms of this, the similarities between the two. And so I absolutely adore this game. It is so fun. I've played this game to start a game night, and then I looked at my watch and it was 4 a.m. and we started at like 8 a.m. It's just like I can't get enough of this game. If you have not played Dutch Blitz, you owe it to yourself to play. If you are still interested in Uno and you like that idea of like putting cards out and waiting for the right thing to come along, this one, it gives you your own more control over that aspect and putting them out into the middle. And so that's why I felt simple card game. I wanted to stick with card games in terms of replacements and not deviate too far away from that. So that's why I put Dutch Blitz on our list. It is our collective number 6.
Yes.
What about life size Dutch Blitz? Have you played that?
Oh.
With actual Dutch people?
No, with huge cards.
and throwing them on piles? I haven't.
Yeah. You play it in a giant room and you go running. You have to run and it's awesome. Amazing. It's like your little mini people on the table. It's amazing.
That sounds fantastic to me. Both versions sound fantastic.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Chris, and you were the reason why I picked up this game recently, because all the talk you talked about it during the show, and it lived up to the hype, my friend. I was literally, the first time I played it, you don't play it just once. It's multiple times, and you didn't tell me it's a workout. You're sweating after all this. I'm like, okay.
You're sweating.
Yeah. So I got rid of my treadmill. I'm just playing Dutch Blitz all the time now, man.
That's all you need. It is the #1 workout program across North America as well, exactly. Which is something that I think they should put on the box.
They should,
but they don't.
Yeah. So take that, Uno. You can't make me work out, but Dutch Blitz can. Great choice. All right, let's
now, Ruel. Before we move on, should we talk about for the viewers who didn't tune into the pre-show, as they know, there's always a pre-show that's happening. Should we talk about the giveaways that we're doing?
We should. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. Yeah, folks, I was so excited to do this list. I just jumped right in and forgot to tell you that we've got a contest going on right now, as Chris mentioned, and you can win yourself 2 passes to the upcoming PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia this December. And Chris, you want to talk about how viewers can win their very own passes?
All you need to do is be on the lookout for a secret word, and let's say from this point onward, a secret word will appear. One of us will say it in the episode, and you have to email contest@rahdo.com with the name of the game where it appeared in the episode. So if it was in Dutch Blitz, you would say it was in Dutch Blitz. The secret word was kind of said in Dutch Blitz, which is what made me remember it, but that's not going to count. You still got to keep on listening for when it happens. The secret word is going to be shenanigans, like the shenanigans that were pulled. Exactly. But it's not my friend Shannon Gen. So be careful, because I like to talk about her a lot. I do like to mention her. She comes up quite often, very naturally in conversation. And so it's not her. Make sure you wait for the word shenanigans and then email contest@rahdo.com, and you could win a full ticket, the 3-day pass that is the entire event at PAX Unplugged, happening December 1st to the 3rd in Philadelphia.
Awesome.
Not to be confused with shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yes. Or chicanery.
Chicanery.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So, friends, again, contest@rahdo.com. The name of the game when Chris or myself says the word shenanigans from this point on. Okay. And why don't we get back to the list? We are moving on to continue our list of the 6 games that replace Uno. We're going to pass it on to our friends at Legendary Tactics. Flash, what game would you replace Uno with?
Brilliant. Well, this is a hard question because it's got to be a family building game. It's got to be simple, got to be easy to learn, interactive mechanics, and most importantly, there has to be a little splash of mess with your neighbor mechanics in there. So a number of games crossed my mind. I thought about Sequence Stacks. I thought about The Crew. I thought about Wizard. Cockroach Poker was up there, really close. Skull came to mind. Love this game, but the mechanics just aren't right. And so I settled on No Thanks.
Nice.
So this game's super cool. It's a sequencing game. So in order to reduce your score, you need to put your cards in a sequence to reduce it. And it's even simpler than Uno if you think that's not possible, try this game. You have a choice on your turn. You either put a chit on the card if you don't want it, or you take the card. And cards are bad. You want the lowest score possible. So you mess with other people because of how you set them up to fail, essentially. And everyone I've played this with has loved it. All the people who like Uno, I think, will like No Thanks.
Yeah, this is a great choice. This is one of the first like hobby, I guess, games that I played, a lighter hobby game when I got into the hobby, and immediately I love that style of that tension of, do I want to keep pushing? Do I want to take those chips now, or do I just take the card? Yeah, fantastic game. It's it's sad though. I don't have a copy of this game, and it's because I always play someone else's, but I feel like I need to have this in my collection. So yeah,
definitely,
great
it's a must-have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really solid. Sorry, I wanted to come in there and say I also love the pick. I was too busy sipping on my friend Shannon's gin. But yeah, really good choice. I think that's really good.
Sweet. I feel validated. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Chris. Okay, why don't we move? I'm dying here. NATO, we've got more games that can replace Uno. What is your choice, my friend?
All right. There was a bunch that I thought of. Cockroach Poker was actually one of the other ones, or Hanabi was another one.
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, I went with Monopoly Deal. And Monopoly Deal is actually, Flash gave me my copy of that years ago. He's like, trust me, it's good. It's Monopoly, but it's a card game. And when you actually play it, it's actually a really fun variation. It keeps very true to the Monopoly, the spirit of Monopoly, but it plays out. It's a full, card game. There's some neat strategic choices as to whether you want to play the card for the property or take the money value to pay rents later, and that sort of thing. It's a really neat game. Kind of it is different than Uno, but the complexity level is I would say is roughly the same, maybe slightly more. But if you've played Monopoly, you should be fine. It's just in terms of collecting the property sets, but it plays out really well. The only thing is that I found, I actually played it this summer with my family, and it had been a while, and I'd forgotten how small the print is on the cards. So there's a lot of very fine print there, but at least in the edition that I have. But it is a really, really great game, and I think it replaces Uno. It's just a much better game. It's just much better choices involved.
Yeah, another fantastic choice. Actually, when we're putting together these lists, that was one of my finalists for this. It was either going to be my choice that I ended up with, or Monopoly Deal, because I think it's fantastic that they were able to take Monopoly, which it's a huge game. People still play it, but we all know that it's not our favorite game. But they took the flavor of Monopoly and distilled it down to this really easy to play card game. And I used to have a copy of this, but it eventually left my collection. But I remember so many times when someone wanted to play Monopoly, I was like, "Hey, have you tried Monopoly Deal?" And it was always a hit. So great choice, Nate.
Yeah. Although you do have to you have to say, look, it's 15 minutes, not 15 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was like the easiest sell, right? Hey, do you want to play Monopoly within 20 minutes? I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. And then Monopoly Deal would come out. Yeah, fantastic.
I always find whenever I play Monopoly with my friend Shannon, she always goes to jail again. We're always like, Shannon's in jail again. But hopefully that wouldn't happen to her in Monopoly Deal.
Oh, Chris. Folks, why don't
just classic Shannon. Classic
Shannon.
Again,
that's Shannon. Why don't we move on? Let's see what else we got on the list here for games that replace Uno. Cax, what you got for us, my friend?
Sure, yeah. So when I was thinking about it, I wanted to get a game that was simple, easy to play, and card driven. And I also so I came up with 5 Minute Marvel, and from 2018. It is cooperative, so it does have a slightly different kind of twist to it, but it's light. Of course, it plays pretty quick. You want to get it done in 5 minutes, and it does add a little complexity to it though, because the bosses that you fight, they each have their own kind of. You have to vary the winning conditions against each boss to actually defeat it. There's the card matching mentality there, where each minion you fight has to you have to have a certain set of sequence of cards to defeat it, or certain icons. It's got the bosses actually scale up to, which is kind of a neat extra challenge for it as well, giving it 6 levels of difficulty. And in the end, it's Marvel. So how do you say no to that, really?
Right. Yeah, great. Yeah, I've only played the original I forget, was it 5 Minute Dungeon was the original?
5 Minute Dungeon, yeah, that's the only one I've played as well. Yeah.
And I thought that was a perfectly fun, again, lighter game, introductory or family weight game, and I think this is perfect for what we're shooting at, right? Games that replace Uno, and with the Marvel theme, of course, you're going to get all kinds of people interested right away. So, yeah,
big time.
Yeah, great call.
I've sat down with my kids with this one, and for the most part, it's Dad, can we play again? And so that's always a winner for me. When I'm getting that answer, I'm like, oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
We got to tackle that boss, right? So that's great.
I love that. That should be like a test for all board games or card games. Dad, can we play again? That's the ultimate test right there. So, nice call.
Yeah, I only played 5 Minute Dungeon for the first time pretty recently, but I was surprised at how addictive it was. Okay, let's go to the next level.
Yep.
Let's go to the next level, and just throwing Marvel in there. I know things were getting so rambunctious around the table. Lots of stuff was happening. But I kept on going, I banged my shins again. But because I was getting so into it just on the table. But it was really solid game.
Chris,
box shape does it for me.
You're the best, Chris. You're the best. We've got another game. Oh, it's my turn. I've got my choice now. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a friend named Shannon, but I do have a wonderful game. Now, I'm going to throw this out there, folks. I think the game. Well, I'm going to let you know right now. My pick for the game that should replace Uno is Mantis, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to call Mantis the best mass market game that's been produced in the last 5 years. I think Mantis is absolutely fantastic. It reminds me of a game that came out a few years ago from a Ravensburger called Push, which is a push your luck game. But this game adds a little bit of set collection to it. And it's super simple. Here's me and Michelle. We're just playing this on my channel here. You have this deck of cards, and on the cards, the backs of the cards, there's going to be 3 different colors. And they, for those of us with colorblind issues, they have matching symbols. What you do is you're going to look at those colors. You're going to choose whether you're going to try to score it in your pile or pass it on, steal it from another player's pile. And what you do is look at those colors, you say pass or steal, and if you bring it to your side, you flip it over. If it matches one of your colors on your side, you have won that, and you're going to score it. If you go to your opponent's player side and say, hey, I'm going to steal the blue one, you flip it over, it's blue, then you take their blue ones. And it's just a race to 15 cards. It's super simple, but it passes the Dad Can I Play Again test, because anytime I bring this out, whether it's casual gamers or family or even some hardcore gamers, it's always played a couple of times because it's so quick. It's like a 10-minute game. It works well at 2. I think it plays up to 5 or 6. It's fantastic. It's super simple, but super addictive. And it's got the Mantis art. If you all watched or read the comic The Oatmeal online, it's the same artist, Matthew Inman. He's the one that created this. So I love this game. I think it's one of those evergreen titles for me where I can take this and play it with such a wide variety of audiences, and that's why it's my choice to replace Uno, and that's Mantis.
Nice.
Cool. I've never played it. I've never played it before.
Oh yeah, highly recommend. I think it's from, I'm gonna check it right now. I think it's from the Exploding Kittens people. They do very lightweight family style games. Let me see. Mantis is published by Exploding Kittens. All right. So here's the fun fact. Exploding Kittens, one of their lead developers is a guy named Eric Lang of Blood Rage fame, and he's brought his design sensibilities into this mass market firm, and I think it's working wonders. And I can't say anything now, but I did get to take a look at some prototypes that I got to see a couple of weeks ago from Eric. That may be coming real soon, and I'm just gonna say they're good. That's it. No,
and they're cute.
They're cute. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, be sure if you haven't checked it out, folks, check out Mantis from Exploding Kittens. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And
that was your run through that you were doing there. It wasn't Shay.
That was my run through. Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes when I look on it, I'm like, oh, Shay's on again. But okay, I just wanted to double check that it was
Chris,
you. That's all.
You're the best, my friend. You are the best. Why don't we see what Richard's got in store for us? See what his thoughts are on all this stuff that we're doing. Richard, take it away. Your games that replace UNO.
Guys, welcome to the show. Sorry I'm a bit late to the party, but those are excellent choices. Every single one of them. I love them. Chris, of course I knew you were going to put Dutch Blitz on, and there's never been a more appropriate time to do it. But actually, of those 5 that you've mentioned, my pick would have to be, it's such a brilliant idea to go with 5-Minute Marvel. Because using cooperative play to bring people in, most people have never even thought of the idea of working together and having fun at the same time. And co-op is what brought me into the hobby, so good choice. I wish I'd thought of it myself. I don't know if you mentioned it, but for people who do not like Marvel superheroes or they've had enough of it, there is an alternate option, which is 5-Minute Dungeon, the original fantasy version, which I actually covered on the channel, and it's fantastic. Why didn't I think of it? Because there can be only one. There can be only UNO. And if you are trying to beat UNO, there is no better way to do it than with For Sale. The granddaddy of card game auctions. This game is perfection. And the reason it works so well is because it's full of universal ideas of buy low, sell high. And buy low is the first half, sell high is the second half. This game is so easy to teach. All you gotta do, sit people down, shuffle the deck, put out, whatever the number of players of cards, representing the different mansions, give everybody their starting money, and then say, right, we're bidding for these. You want to get the most valuable collection of houses you can. Let's go. Everybody understands auctions. It's super simple, and you're up and playing just like that. And speaking of playing, man, I couldn't believe there were so many different how-to-play videos for this in so many languages, because this is such a universally loved game. Thank you, Siam Board Games, for this one that I thought showed off the components really, really nicely. Anyway, though, that's just the first half of the game. Then, once everybody has their hand of houses they bought and they're feeling good, you then say, right, okay, folks, we're not done yet. Now, you're going to sell high. And you bring out you shuffle up and play out the points cards or the money cards. Everybody makes now a closed bid, and highest bidder makes the most money, lowest bidder makes the less money, and that's it, instantly. And yet the game is so full of tension. It makes really memorable stories as people laugh as they miss out. There's all kinds of head games going on because you kind of remember what other people bought. Have they already used their big one? It's absolutely brilliant, and it's just that easy to teach. And I guarantee after you've done it, people are going to say, shuffle them up, we're going again. Because it has stood the test of times. Again, this game is just about perfection. And people will, after playing this, say, what? UNO? Why would we ever play that again? Again, thanks to Siam Board Games for it. The great reel video here. One more thing I should add, too. This game can grow with you. After you've gotten it and all your friends love it and you've played it a lot, if you're looking to take it to the next level, there is a recently released expansion for it called For Sale Advisors. And the beautiful thing about this is, it makes the game much more crunchy because it brings in a third phase where we're also bidding on personal advisors for our real estate empire, and they bring in special player powers as well. I would not recommend anybody start with this, but it is available so the game can grow with your group. And the other thing, Advisors also introduces 2-player gameplay as well. So it broadens the For Sale. It's perfect. Of course it has to be For Sale. Do you disagree, folks? Let us know down in the comments who chose the correct UNO replacement. Okay, guys, back to you.
Yeah, that was also on my short list of games. I love For Sale. I think Richard nailed it. It is one of those games, again, we were just talking about, does it pass the dad test? It absolutely passes the dad test. I play it. I want to continue playing it. It's so good. And I got it early on in my journey into modern board gaming, and it's withstood the test of time, as Richard said. Thoughts on For Sale? Have y'all played it? Or if not, would you want to play it?
I have not.
No, I don't think so.
NATO needs to play it. He's a financial advisor. And
yeah. Buy low, sell high.
The
That's
true
the
test.
name of the
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
Yeah. I haven't played it either. I feel like it's one of those things where I see it a bunch, but I'm like, buy low, sell high. What other shenanigans do you want to get up to? I don't know.
Exactly.
It's just
and it really is that simple to teach, right? I mean, everyone sort of knows that. Hey, I'm gonna buy at this certain price, and in the next round, I'm gonna hopefully sell for the most money. It's a really simple concept and simple gameplay. But those are the 6 games, folks, that we chose to replace Uno. We're not done yet, though. Be sure to click on the links below, and you're going to find us doing another list with our friends from Legendary Tactics, where we pick the 6 games that replace CATAN, or CATAN, or CATAN. We're gonna pronounce it right, I hope. But on behalf of Chris and the Legendary Tactics crew, thanks for watching. You've been watching the R&R&R show. We'll see you later. Take care, and bye-bye. And hello, we are back. So we've recorded 6 games that replace Uno. We're gonna reset some things here. Cax, Flash, NATO, how are y'all feeling? How you doing? Were you ready to do another list with us?
Absolutely,
right, big time. Let's
Awesome.
go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this is an unfair question to say what game replaces CATAN, because there's no games that are just exactly like CATAN. So
right,
hard question.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough question. Let me see. Let me get the videos set up.
What are there any other sort of shout outs for Uno that didn't get on the list? One that I was contemplating as well that my girlfriend was like, "Oh, you should put this one in," was 6 Nimmt, in terms of just in terms of simple card game,
Good call.
like screwing over your neighbor potentially by setting up the runs and that sort of stuff.
I think that's a good choice. One of my honorable mention was going to be Love Letter, just because how simple it is, and draw a card, play a card, draw a card, play a card. Super simple.
Yeah.
And if you want to level up, Love Letter Coup is the next step from there.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Have you guys tried Hidden Leaders?
I've not.
No, but it looks good.
It
looks
like
was
a new one. It's
so
it's way more complicated than Uno. That's why I leaned away from it. But fun little game, small little box. Yeah, thematically, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
It looks like Veiled Fate Light. If like ID
Fate.
Studios, I found a lot of similarities. I think between I haven't played Hidden Leaders, but I've read the rule book, and that's the
as you do.
As I do. read a few. It was on Kickstarter in the past couple of years, so I've read the rule book.
Time for need another rule book.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if do you guys also have just rule books on your nightstand? Because I literally have 4 on my nightstand right now, and I have not played any of the games, but I've read all 4 rule books. But
nice. No, that's NATO. We just have
NATO
on the nightstand. If we have a question, we just ask them.
Oh, NATO.
Some in the chat, Scott O'Brien says, "Love Letter, Fantasy Realms, The Game, The Mind, Skull King, Millie Bourne is Scout,
Nilborn. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, I was in Mille Fiore. That was in the next line. I was like, oh no, that's not it.
I feel like Milborn is like a Canadian thing. Is that really is Milborn huge? Because I know here in the States, I felt like it wasn't that big of a game. I learned it from a comedian or a Canadian friend of mine, actually a comedian friend also. Milborn was that a game growing up for all y'all, or no?
Not for me.
Not for me. No.
I played cribbage.
Yes, cribbage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some crokinole.
Oh yeah,
Crokinole.
Crokinole.
The greatest dexterity game ever. That is the greatest game ever.
Great.
Nothing even comes close. Yes. Oh my gosh. Y'all had me at Crokinole. Love it. Okay. Let me get this. So we've taken our quick break here. Folks in chat, thank you again for hanging out. We are recording not 1 but 2 lists today. Chris, by the way, nice save for the contest, man. I appreciate that. I totally just
yeah, no problem. Well, it's because Flash said about the no, that's some shenanigans. I was like, that is, and that I'm like, we have to talk about it.
So thank you, Flash, for reminding
in this
us.
section of the video, as well.
Okay.
Goblin says, "Is there a new secret word, or is that it?"
I
mean, I don't know how much more milk I can squeeze out of this shenanigans. I'm gonna need you in chat to help out. Most of those are credit to chat, really.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think
I
I
just
give away the one. Either I don't know if it's think it's a pair of tickets. Shoot. We're good. We're good on the contest. We're just going to do this approach. This is a normal show.
Okay, cool. So it's just a contest. And I thought there was 2 contests. So then therefore it would be 1 for each.
Oh.
But I guess if you want to go with someone.
Yeah.
That's also nice. Yeah. You can go with the winner from CATAN.
What did we do last time? 2 weeks ago we did the show, Chris. It was
I don't even remember my own name back then. I think it was different.
Yeah. Oh man. Let me see. I think you should. Okay. Andrew Scott says you should do 1 for each. So we will do another one for this show.
Great. Thanks, Andrew Scott.
Thank you, Andrew Scott. Should we do shenanigans again? Or are you?
Or is it a different?
Are you just over that, Chris?
Yeah.
I don't know. What does chat want?
Chat. What do y'all think is a good word? Let's see. We'll give him a second to respond. I will make sure.
Oh yeah. What about Mobley? Mobley's a good word.
Nah, I don't think so. I can't really do too much of that. It's not even a real word. It's just made up, kind of like mobile. You know, it used to be the Omis. It's actually from a stage show, like the Yoga Om. And then when they got it to be a film show, then it got changed to Mobley's because then it was started in the States, and then it came to Canada to do the filming.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
The more you mob.
Nice.
Yeah.
Legend as secret word. Okay.
I know. I'm just worried that if we say legendary tactics, it could.
It could be a conflict.
Like I was thinking, like you can't do flash, you can't do that sort of stuff. Shenanigans make Chris think. You can do shenanigans again. Let's just do shenanigans again.
Okay, we'll do shenanigans. So, folks, again, you all watch.
Honestly,
live.
I haven't been listening to anything you all have been saying. I've just been like shim ham and drins.
Okay,
it's not going to be as good as last time. I need to chat. You got it.
Yeah, chat help us out as we go here. Help us out. And then, so Chris, I'll be sure to mention the contest first thing when we start recording. And then
Great,
we are going to go with the same order. Let me make sure. We've got Chris leading things off, Flash, Cax, NATO, myself, and then Richard, and then we'll wrap, and that'll be it. Then we'll do a post show for a few minutes and let y'all get back to your days here. So thank you, friends, for watching, and thanks to Legendary Tactics for hanging out with us. And let's get ready to record. And 6 games to replace CATAN, and y'all ready to go? Okay, here we go. Excuse me. Yeah, that's the spirit. Hey everybody, today on the Rahdo Runs Through show. No, that's not what we're doing. We are doing the R&R&R show. Okay. Hey friends, and welcome to the R&R&R show, episode 73. I'm Ruel Gaviola, joined as always by my co-host Chris George. Chris, how the heck are you?
I'm fantastic, and I'll say the exact same thing that we did in the last episode with our friends over here. It's not the R&R&R show, it's the R&R&R&R show, because we've got the crew from Legendary Tactics here, Cax, NATO, and Flash across your screen in that order. Thank you all for joining us, and if you haven't checked out Legendary Tactics, you should, because the amount of work that they put into their videos is beyond compare and beyond anything else on YouTube. And I've only seen glimpses of it, and I'm already tired by all of the amount of editing that I know goes into it. So really, like, they make great stuff. Welcome to the show. I mean, and if you haven't seen it, we did one of these called Top 6 Games That Replace UNO, where we had the crew on as well, which you should go and check out. But this one is not that. This is the top 6 games that replace CATAN.
Yes.
We appreciate being here. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. And, as we see, NATO and Cax, y'all are very cozy right now. You've got the cozy.
We are very cozy. Right up.
So thank you for making this happen. This is not the first video. This is your second video with us doing this. So we appreciate you hanging in there in the cozy confines of the studio.
Yeah.
That's how you know that they're a real friend group. If we have a pre-show. Yeah. We have a pre-show where they're talking about like they want to do some of these friends. But that's how you know the true friendship is because they've been cuddled up so nicely for the frame.
And the single screen.
That's all you need. Yeah. As the saying goes, sharing is caring. Okay. So speaking of sharing, why don't we share some tickets to PAX Unplugged, Chris? Now we did this for the previous video, folks, again, click the show notes below for the link to our 6 games that replace UNO. We're going to give you another shot to win a pass to PAX Unplugged, happening in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania this December 1st through 3rd. Chris, how can people win their very own pass?
Well, in order to win, you have to keep your ears tuned to the television screens, and a secret word is going to pop up, and we're going to tell you that secret word right now. The secret word is shenanigans. So when you hear either myself or Ruel say the word shenanigans, you have to mark down which game it was said in. So, for example, my game is going to be number 6. I have a game that replaces Catan. If I happen to say shenanigans in that segment, which I'm absolutely not going to do because it's the first one, and why would I make it that easy? You can send it in to contest@rahdo.com. You have to get the correct segment, so make sure you're keeping your ears peeled, and make sure I'm not just talking about my good friend Shannon's gran, and because she loves making tea, and she's close to my heart. Okay, she's a sweet lady, and maybe you can take Shannon's gran to PAX Unplugged, or you might see her there crossing the street. So
I hope
yeah, keep your ears peeled for shenanigans. I didn't even know what it was when I said it just then. For shenanigans, that'll happen at some point.
Yes.
We shan't do it again.
Exactly.
We shan't do it again. Can't do it again.
Let's
not that. It has to be shenanigans.
Yeah. All right, great. So again, the name of the game, when one of us says that word, you'll send that to in an email to contest@rahdo.com. And good luck, everybody. We are talking today about the games that replace Catan, if you will. This is a game that a lot of us have, entered the hobby through. It is called a gateway or introductory game. But we feel like there are plenty of other games out there that are even better than Catan. So why don't we kick things off? Chris, you're the man. Let's get this thing going, my friend.
Well, thank you. It's been a while since someone's called me the man, and I feel great. Yeah, let's kick it off. I love Catan. I absolutely love Catan. I still do. It was the game that got me into the hobby. It was the game that my friend introduced me to, and I said, oh my goodness gracious, this is what board gaming can accomplish. And so when I was thinking about this, and I did kind of a video on my channel like a year ago, kind of along the similar lines of what to play after Catan, I like to think about it in terms of what I like from Catan and what made it so innovative and novel to me. And so I wanted to focus on the negotiation aspect of it, in terms of taking a game where if you talk long enough, you can wheel and deal your way into that. I'll trade you a sheep for 2 wheat and a wood for some inexplicable reason, but it happened, and it's the best feeling ever. And so the game that I love, that my girlfriend Renee also loves, is a game that is pure negotiation, and that is Chinatown. Chinatown is the one that I would bring forward in terms of, if you love that negotiation aspect of Catan. Like, if you like to sit in silence while you play your game of Catan, then this does not replace this, and it won't for you. But if you like to just run your mouth with your friends and try to get that positioning on the board, Chinatown is just a really, really good game. You're going to be getting these lots where you get to choose which lots you're going to keep, and then anything can be traded. Anything can be traded whatsoever. And I love a game that gives you that sort of free form trading, which is what I also really love about Catan. I've come up with some really fun trades in Catan that have resonated with me, or have like become staples in my game group, etc. And Chinatown gives me that same exciting feeling of trading lots, trading things to put in those lots, or trading a space with a lot already on it just for money. And so whatever you have, you get money at the end of a round. At the end of 6 rounds, you win. It's if you love negotiation, this is like a pure negotiation game, and it's super fun, and I like it a lot. So that's why Chinatown is our collective number 6.
Very nice. Yeah, I've not played Chinatown yet, but I know its reputation, and I've always wanted to play. Chris, does this play it too, or do you have to have a minimum of 3 players or more?
No, you have to have a minimum of 3. You
Okay.
can't really play it at 2, and I wouldn't play it at 3. Honestly, it's 3 to 5. I'd play it at like 4 to 5. 3 is fine, but like there isn't enough chaos going on around the table. You want something where if you turn down a deal, you don't just go, well, what about you? Right? Like, you want something where there's a bit more chaos. I like it the best at 5 because it's less easy to keep track of everything, and then it's less easy to just kind of math it out, which it can also potentially suffer from. So
nice, awesome. Our
yeah,
friends
put
from
up all
Legendary
sorts of.
Tactics. Any thoughts? Whether or not you played or not, how's it seem?
I've heard amazing things about Chinatown. I have yet to try it though. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason we're here is to hear about games like this, so we appreciate the suggestion.
Awesome.
Chris, is it still in print?
It was out of print for a while.
Yeah.
It was out of print for a while, but I think Z-Man Games put out another print run recently. I know it was available at 401 Games pretty recently.
Yeah.
Which I'll just double check it right now to see if there's any still there, because that's kind of
interesting.
I assume most of our local stores, since we're all kind of in the area.
We're all in the area.
Right.
You
have to check out J&J's in Kitchener-Waterloo though.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I've heard really good things.
I'm glad you brought that up, Nato, because as I was doing my research for our Essen Spiel episode, I found this game that looks really interesting. This re-implements Chinatown. It's now called Waterfall Park. This is the new version of Chinatown. It is being published by Repost Production, based off there, I believe, in Europe. And I mean, look at this. I mean, it looks beautiful. I mean, this.
Yeah. Is it just a re-theming though?
I believe
Seems
it is.
Like it, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's just a re-theming. It does say re-implements Chinatown. Now, this also says 3 to 5 players, so I'm assuming it's the same thing. But folks, if you want to know more about this game, go over to my channel, because I'm going to be talking about it on a list real soon here. And I think Richard may have talked about it already. But Waterfall Park re-implements Chinatown.
Nice. Great.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Okay. Why don't we continue on here? Flash, you've got the next one that's going to replace Catan. What you got for us?
Right on. Well, I had a different experience with this game because I wanted it to be my gateway game. I bought it back in, what did it come at, 94, something like that, and it just wasn't that game for me. So recently I've enjoyed it more with family, but there's better games. And so the game I've chosen, I would say, is Catan adjacent. Because Catan is a game all of its own, there really aren't any other games that are just like it. That we need to think about what's a game that's better than Catan that people who play Catan would like, doesn't overstay its welcome. There has to be player-to-player interaction, and it needs to be one that can stick with a gaming table for a long time. So, and I think most importantly for me, it can't have a square or rectangular board. Sorry, Chris, about your pick there, but
no, that's fair.
No, it's. I mean, that was the defining feature for me with this game. So I thought about Seven Wonders. Doesn't really have a board. Viticulture, Seventh Continent, Scythe, Tiny Epic Games, Puerto Rico 1879, which is just new this year, Machi Koro. But I decided on Spirit Island 2017.
Wow.
So thematically, it's almost anti-Catan. So your goal is not to welcome and settle and build, but to drive the settlers away from the island. And rather than building settlements, you're destroying them. And but like Catan, there are settlements, there's cities. The invaders are spreading across the map, and the spirits are also spreading their spirit. So the mechanics, I would concede, are very, very different. So this is a cooperative game. You've got variable player powers, simultaneous action selection. So very different, but both are strategy games. I think both appeal to the same kind of gamer, albeit Spirit Island would be maybe next level after Catan, which I think is a logical progression. Once you've got your fix of Catan, you're ready for something a little more meaty. It does mildly have a modular board. You can see in the image there, depending on the player count, you have sort of different shapes. But you build your engine up, power your spirit up, and I'd say it's about the same length as Catan. So why should it replace Catan? Well, because it gets rid of the dice, and you've also got, Chris, you'll love it, some resource bartering. You get rid of the resource bartering. Sorry, my bad. You won't love it. You'll hate it.
Yeah.
I do love it, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Cool. What do you guys think about Spirit Island? You like this one?
I just like that you kick all those colonizers off the spirit's land again, which feels good to me.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. I love how they flip the script on the theme. But yeah, to go from Catan to Spirit Island, that's a pretty big leap. I mean, you're going from rolling dice to like, hey, this is really for a cooperative game too, which I think is a good choice. Moving on, if you're going to go to like a deeper, crunchier game like Spirit Island, I think making it a co-op helps, because then the more experienced players can easily sort of guide the less experienced players. At least that's the experience
you have
I've
to
had.
choose some of the early easy spirits as well for the new gamers.
Yeah. Agreed. But yeah, Spirit Island, it's so good. It is a fantastic game. Great choice. Let us move on. Cax, you've got the next call for our games that replace Catan.
Yeah, so for me, one of the things that really struck me about Catan was its modular board and the idea of the board ever changing every time you played it. And I can remember being just awestruck and just really thought what a clever idea that was. And so when I was thinking of games, that was one that was sort of front of mind. And the game I came up with was Cascadia from 2021. And I really, really was struck by this game. It does the same kind of thing. It's the modular board. You've got, you're picking tiles. The board is always changing. Every game is totally different. I do like actually as well that Cascadia adds in things that are like it adds sort of challenges that you can kind of attempt in the actual rules manual there. So you can go through and try and hit certain benchmarks and see if you can accomplish different goals. It doesn't have the resource bartering of Catan, but I would, as far as the difficulty level, I would put it on par with Catan, and it certainly doesn't overstay its welcome in game length, which Catan also hits that benchmark. So for me, Cascadia 2021 is just that's an easy no-brainer.
Yeah, for me personally, this is my game of the year 2021. I love Cascadia. Ooh. And my wife and I played a ton of games. And what's cool is I think this might be one of the first games that we talked about on this list, and also on our companion list, UNO, where you can play this solo. I love the solo game of Cascadia. It's very easy to implement, and it gives you the feel of Cascadia without having to need any other humans around. You can just play it by yourself. But great
pesky humans.
Choice. Yeah, great choice, Cax. Any thoughts on Cascadia? Have we all played it, or if not, are you interested in playing it?
Yep, I've played it with Cax many times.
Played it,
yeah. It's great. It's a really I think it's one of those games that almost is greater than the sum of its parts, because if you look at it just as a game initially, you're like, oh, this is whatever. It's gonna be a light little game, whatever. But there's a lot of thinking that goes into your choices, and it's got a lot to it actually. It's without being too heavy, without and if you played Catan, you can absolutely pick up Cascadia and do well.
Yeah. Another great gateway game.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree 100%. It's really. It really is easy to pick up if you've never played a game before. If you've only played a Catan, this is slots in really easily with inexperienced gamers or casual gamers. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for when they add in the sixth animal, the otter expansion. Wait, no, that was a different secret word. That's a different secret word. Oh shoot. Okay, I'll get it next time.
Folks, that's a flashback. Go ahead and check out the episode a couple of weeks ago, and you'll see what Chris is talking about. It's so great. Chris is the
so you want to see it again at the table?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to see that man again.
I love it. Let's move on to the next pick from NATO. It is up to you.
Yeah. So my pick is one that maybe a little more obscure. I'm not sure how big this actually got in terms of the splash that it made at the time, but I looked at some games that I thought were aesthetically very kind of similar, like Terra Mystica. Has maybe some common aesthetic elements, building kind of the cities and the towns and that sort of thing. Arguably, games like Concordia might have some connection there. But ultimately, I decided to go with Deus. Now, this is a game that's about 10 years old, and again, I'm not sure how much of a splash it made at the time, because it was a game that I got that was towards I guess you could say towards the beginning of my re-entry into the hobby, but it does have the modular board, and it does have the you're building up the infrastructure and that sort of thing, but it has it's much more of a competitive game. There isn't resource trading, but there is a sort of a resource building aspect to it, which I thought kind of ties in, and you can almost see some aesthetic comparisons there in the look. But it plays very differently, and it's a really good challenge. I don't think rules wise it's going to be that much harder to learn. It's hard to play well, maybe, but it's not hard to actually learn the game. And once you kind of get into the swing of it, it's a really, really interesting game to play. It's just got a lot of really neat mechanics, and again, doesn't overstay its welcome, and well worth a look anyway if you can. I don't know. Have you guys tried Deus? Have you heard of Deus? Is it?
Yeah, I own Deus. It's on my shelf over there.
Oh,
I think it's
good.
great.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not played
Yeah.
it yet, but I know, yeah, it's got this really great reputation. And I don't know why. I think it's one of those games where I just always miss out at game night. It's always like at the other table, and it's like, oh, they've
Yeah.
already started or whatever. But I know that people rave about it. I think, isn't the designer the same gentleman that did like Twa or something, or one of those? Oh, was it Black Angel? I'm not sure. I forget. Oh man, we should look this up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure either. I know it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did Troyes, or
yeah, Twa or Troy. Yeah. Sebastian
Yeah.
Dujardin, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he did that. Yeah. Oh man, he's got some. He did Lofoten, which we actually did a run through on the channel before, and he's done some big games. Black Angel. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And
So-
Deus is, I think it's just, it has the air of something of a classic of the genre in many
Yeah.
ways. It just the way it's just a very elegant design. Everything fits together, and it's a game I lose often, especially to CAX, but I still enjoy it. And that's my best thing I could say about it.
Nice.
That even when you lose, you still you know what, I'll get you next time.
Yeah. Again, a great a great litmus test, right? Is it will you play it again even though you always lose at it or bad at it? I have a ton of games like that in my collection. I'm terrible at them, but I I love them.
We'll call it the loser test. We got
the loser test, yes,
and the loser
dad
test.
and
the
the
loser
loser
test.
test.
That's my
Nice.
nickname in high school.
Oh, poor Chris.
No, Deus is really solid though. I feel like it's a real underrated gem too. It's probably hard to find a copy of it now though, because I think Pearl Games was producing it, and I don't think they're around anymore.
Right.
And so like it's one that I like hope gets revived down the line. Like I love the action efficiency. I love that you have to you want to strategically go into building just like one type of building. There's like 5 different types of buildings.
Yes.
But it also encourages you to like spread that out. Because if you build just one, then you chain your engine every time. But if you build like all across, then you can build these super powerful end game monuments. But you need one of everything to build like your first or second monument. It's just like, it's really cool. I love the boats on they go on the sea, and you get your armies running around the land. It's
so it has a lot
really
of the
good.
same thematic elements as Catan. It's just handled differently. You have the armies, you're kind of chaining the, not a road exactly, but you're building buildings and building up
because you have to build orthogonal to yourself, right?
Mhm.
Like
You do,
in order to spread out. So like getting that sort of like road factor in there.
Yes.
Yeah. I was
All
trying to tie it in with my favorite documentary, Sea, Land, and Ham, but I couldn't figure out a good tie. So here we are.
There you go. Nice. Okay. Thank you, friends. Why don't we move on? It is it time for me? It is time for me.
Time for you.
Yeah. The game that I've chosen is one. Now I look at it like this. I wanted something. If I'm going to replace Catan, I want something with dice in it. I'm not going to get rid of the dice. I'm going to keep the dice. I'm going to keep the resources. I'm going to keep it a lighter game that is really easy to get to the table, and that's why I chose for our collective list Stone Age. This is probably,
nice.
I think this might have been my very first worker placement game that I played, and I knew right then and there that I like worker placement. I like putting little workers out there to collect resources and do stuff. And Stone Age is the perfect way to introduce that mechanism of people, especially if you've just gotten your fill of Catan. Why don't you move on over? You can still roll dice. In fact, you're going to roll a bunch of dice, depending on how many workers you have, to get those resources. You're going to flip those resources to get tech cards or, the cards that score you points or whatnot. And you know, like any good Euro game, you've got to feed your people. So at the end of the round, if you don't have enough farming or food, people are going to starve and you're going to lose points. But thankfully, you can use your resources. I always like to say, you know, my people are eating wood sandwiches, but, you know, it's in the theme of the game, you're like trading wood for food or whatever. But and in keeping with Catan, if I'm perfectly honest, so I love this game. I still have it, but keeping on with the Catan theme, this does overstates welcome a little bit. If this game could be narrowed down a little bit by about 20 minutes or so, because it usually goes on over an hour, and by then it's like, okay, you know, I love the game, but it's a little bit, it's a little repetitive. But it's still a game that I bring out every so often if the people at the table have never played a worker placement game, and especially if their experience is mainly with just Catan, then we're bringing in this because it has a little bit more going on. There's no direct trading, but there is a lot of interaction, like trying to, you know, hose each other out of certain spots. You know, you teach that whole, hey, I'm going to deny you the spot by putting my worker there. Ha ha. Welcome to the wonderful world of worker placement. So that's why my choice is Stone Age. I'm still a fan of this game, folks, and I think it's a really good one to replace Catan with. Thoughts from my friends here, Legendary Tactics or Chris yourself?
Yeah, what's worse, imaginary people starving or you losing points?
Losing points, probably.
Probably losing points, but I guess the starving thing. We'll go with that.
I don't know. It sounds like almost a tie.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's you know, I love Stone Age because there's always those moments. We always crack up. You know, whenever I play, it's always, okay, if you can't feed your people, you can use resources. And people are like, oh, so you're making me feed people gold bars? I'm like, well, think of it like, you know, they're just gold sandwiches or something.
How do you think the pirates get their gold meat?
There you go. Yes.
It's because they had one too many delicious gold bar sandwiches.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's to me it's still one of the best, if not best, introductory worker placement games. There are others like I like using like Raiders of the North Sea. I think is a wonderful one as well. But I picked Stone Age just because it does have the dice, and yeah, you have that luck factor. But you know, coming from Catan, like, hey, I've got more dice. That's just as fun, if not funner, because there's more to roll and get resources with. So. Anyways,
I love that the game came out in 2008, but it took until 2017 to win the Hungarian Board Game Award.
Did it really?
They weren't sure.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
Really? 9 years?
Yeah. They have a long jury process over there in Hungary.
Wow.
They get up to plenty of shenanigans, but eventually they decide on.
I think they were thinking about giving it the award like in 2010, but they were like, you know, let's give it another 7 years just to make sure.
Just to be sure.
I want a couple of thousand more plays before I give it the award.
Like we don't want to get this wrong. We don't want to have another debacle when we gave it to Monopoly.
Yeah, I think it took them like 500 years to nominate Backgammon, but they finally gave it to Backgammon.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go see what Richard's got for us as far as his choice to replace Catan.
All right. Excellent choices, everybody. I'm about to tell you mine, but first of all, folks, I'm assuming Flash mentioned this, but I mean, geez, Spirit Island thematically makes perfect sense just to turn the tables, but oh my gosh, that is got to be one of the heaviest, crunchiest, scariest games out there. So, at the very least, if you're going to take his advice, please do not start with Spirit Island, but instead Horizons of Spirit Island, which, while it's still just as big and crunchy, does everything it can to make the game a little bit more approachable and streamlined. I love the idea. I love the ambition. You do scare me, Flash. Also, in case Chris didn't mention it, Chinatown is an excellent choice, maybe the best choice of all of them. But what's really, really cool is you have a new option. Recently, Waterfall Park just came out, which is a re-implementation of Chinatown in a cool, more fanciful, beautiful-looking waterfall-based kingdom with water slides all over the place. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I think it's going to get a lot of people excited about Chinatown all over again. It just looks absolutely stunning. Now, what was my choice? Well, again, all of your choices were great, and I think kind of if you put them in front of a Catan player, they'd say, oh, okay, I get it. What are we doing here? I decided to buck the trend and go in a very unexpected direction. My choice is My Farm Shop. Because I really, well, there's a lot of different ways you could go with Catan. Leaning into the trading aspect, leading into the building roads and cities aspect. But to me, what makes Catan memorable more than anything else is that kind of slot machine style thing of, hey, these are where I built my houses. We roll the dice and yeah, I get a payday and whatnot. And then the robber moves, and I hate all that stuff. Can't stand that stuff. Catan, not my favorite at all, but I understand why it's such a great gateway. To me, again, that slot machine, yes, I got what I wanted. That I wanted to show people, look, there are other ways you can get that dopamine rush. And of course, folks know Machi Koro spawned a whole subgenre of games inspired by the dice rolling of Catan and just taking out the board, saying, hey, you know what, you can still build something big and meaningful, but it's more localized to you, so you don't have to worry about other people cutting each other off and being cutthroat and all of that. And while Machi Koro was a great game for its time, it has been so eclipsed by so many different games, and as far as I'm concerned, My Farm Shop is the best of all of them. It's immediately approachable. I think if people enjoyed the setting of Catan, they would enjoy this too, a very warm, open, hey, everybody's got their farm, they are trying to grow produce, to sell it, to make points, and every round, see, now you don't roll 2 dice, you roll 3 dice. Whoever's the lead die roller rolls the 3 dice, uses one of those dice to grab a new card and add it to their farm, thereby reprogramming it, which is an excellent mechanism that really takes things to the next level, because you're constantly expanding your horizons, not by building roads, but by making a more powerful farm, looking for combos between these cards. And then the trick is, the other 2 dice that weren't used by the lead player, everybody uses those dice to activate whatever space is appropriate on their farm shop. And the beautiful thing is, unlike some other games where, hey, and Catan itself, where, sometimes the dice just don't go your way and you get nothing while you sit back and watch other people get things. In this game, everybody gets something every round. And so it's much more satisfying, it's much more fast moving, and it's just more fun all around. There's more interesting decisions to make with the dice. There's more interesting decisions to make as you upgrade your own personal farm. And the other thing I love about it too is it starts out simple. The basic rules are, if anything, even a little bit more approachable than Catan, but the game comes with 3 additional modules built in. So as you play it more and more, you don't have to go out and buy expansions like Catan. They're built into the box. You can turn on the special power cards. You can turn on the, there's 3 different ones you can add. And if you turn all 3 on, this game gets crunchy. This game becomes something that me and Jen, old grizzled board game geeks, still love. So this game just works for everybody, and I love it to pieces. It's my favorite of the Machi Koro by way of Settlers of Catan inspired roll dice and rake in the big rewards every round. It's My Farm Shop. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Back to you guys.
Wow, My Farm Shop. I have not played this game. I have heard many, many good things about it. And the one thing I want to point out that Richard said, I really like games that, you're never just sitting around. There's not a lot of downtime, right? There's, when someone gets resources, you get resources. You get to do a follow action or whatever. I always appreciate that in game designs. And that's why I would love to play My Farm Shop ASAP one of these days.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Catan does have that going for it with the negotiation. There's always at least a conversation going every turn.
That's right.
The actual turn move is pretty quick, but then you've got to have a chit chat with everybody and see where things are at.
Exactly.
The hard part with board gaming is that you wonder when your collection reaches its apex, or at what point do you this is a game from 2020 and maybe it's time to freshen up the collection, or are you happy going back to the vault to these old games, right? So I love hearing these new suggestions where you really focus on a game and just to give it a shot.
Yeah, that's a great point. How long do these days, the classics, they can change from one year to the next. I feel like there's always, something new coming in. It's like, oh, does this really replace that or this? Or so we have a lot more choices now than we did, say, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at least if you never want to share Catan again, well, then you have these 6 options.
Exactly. And there they are. I want to thank our friends from Legendary Tactics for joining us. Folks, did you know we do an extended version of this show where we got to talk all kinds of stuff? And so be sure to click the links below because you get to know the Legendary Tactics crew in depth. We ask them all the hard-hitting questions. Chris really got to the heart of who these guys are. I want to thank them again for joining. But here, don't forget, did you get the secret word, folks? Did you hear one of us, me or Chris, say the word? Well, you know what? Go start the video. One of us said it, and one of you can win a free pass of PAX Unplugged. All you have to do is enter the name of the game that we were talking about that time to contest@rahdo.com, and you'll be entered to win that ticket. Chris,
or maybe you're hard of hearing like Shannon's gran, and we
Who can know?
But who can know?
You're killing me, Chris. Chris, any final thoughts before we wrap things up here, my friend?
No, that's it. I love Catan, and I also love games that remind me of it. So Catan will always hold a very fond place in my heart, and so I like lists that talk about it. Legendary Tactics crew. What are you? Any signing off words?
We appreciate you being out there, and we gotta say, get out there.
Yes.
Get gaming
and be legendary.
Yes. Thank you, friends.
That's true.
All right.
Be legendary.
Be legendary, friends. Like that's the perfect way to sign things off for this episode of the R&R&R show. Thanks again. We'll see you later. So long. Bye-bye. And hello, we did it. Nice job.
Yes.
Legendary Tactics. Cax, Flash, NATO. Y'all crushed it.
Bye, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you, Cax. Appreciate it. We've actually gone over our allotted time. Normally we do a post show, but we just got a few minutes. We've gotten a few minutes over. So thanks to everyone who watched, who was in the live audience, and Chris, appreciate you handling the chores of the shenanigans as always. And Flash and NATO, before we get out of here, any final thoughts from you guys? Where can people find you?
Yep.
So YouTube's the primary platform. NATO runs the Twitter handle and all that, but YouTube's the place to go. So legendarytactics.ca. No, .com, right? Sorry, .com. Yeah.
Well, we have our website is .ca, I think. We just got a website, so we're just learning. Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. But hey, we'd love to get together with you guys and do some work together if you're ever up for anything more. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you both.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was a blast, and I will definitely take you up on that offer. I'd love to, chat more about games.
Brilliant.
And
Well, let us know how your wargaming experience goes. We'd love to hear how that works out.
I will be diving deep. So that the convention I'm going to is start in November. So I'm going to gear up this month and then dive in the first week in November, and I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And Chris, let us know about PAX too. Love to hear what you see there. And
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And we can hang out. We were so close. We can probably do something at some point.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's do it. Yeah, you can come on out to the studio, either studio east or west. You can choose.
Great. Both. I'll do both, and I'll rate them.
Brilliant.
Yeah. One's going to be a 10 and one's going to be a 1. I've already decided. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Depends if you like barns or office spaces more.
Yes.
True. That says something about me as a person, doesn't it?
Yes, it might do. It might do.
All right, friends. Thank you again. And folks in chat, stick around. We're going to go raid our friends Losapalooza. They're playing board games. I think they're playing Heat, Pedal to the Metal right now. We're going to take you over there. Stick around because you get more Rahdo points we can spend here on the channel. And on behalf of our friends here, thank you again for watching the R&R show. Starting the raid in 10 seconds, and then we're off air. So thank you. And this has been a lot of fun. Great show. Got 3 seconds too, and we're going to raid right now. Bye-bye, friends. See you later. So long. And we off air. We are done, and I have